You're listening to Big World Network.
Phineas Frakture and the Princess of Atlantis. Written by Joseph Gatch. Read by Michael Young. And so, as I stood my ground, the beast charged forth, its head down, and pointed death aimed at my heart. I raised my two-bore and let him have it, right between the eyes at 10 yards. There wasn't much of the beast left, of course, but the ivory, oh, the ivory. Phineas Frakture's head flopped backwards, and he stared up at the ceiling. Did this man ever shut up? It had only been 2 days since they'd left New York, but it felt like 20. All he had heard was hunting stories from this buffoon, who seemed to be everywhere. He had no escape. If only Abigail or William had been somewhere else on the ship, he might have sought refuge. However, they were also there, sitting in the lounge with him. The only difference between them and Phineas was that they were captivated by the man's stories, and became agitated if Phineas even moved slightly to get away. Phineas's hand found its way into his coat pocket, where a small box rested, containing a locket that he had purchased for Abigail's birthday. If he remembered correctly, it was tomorrow. However, not wanting to admit that he wasn't sure of the exact day, he refused to ask William, Mrs. Popkiss, or worse yet, Abigail herself. He had spent hours in the shops of New York, searching for something to get her, and he had finally decided on a vintage collection of popular mechanica. Mrs. Popkiss, upon seeing this, had quickly hit him on the head with one of the periodicals and dragged him to a jewelry shop, where she had helped him choose the locket now residing in his pocket. The housekeeper had even gone so far as to guide him into the photography studio to have a picture taken of him to place in the locket as well. Now it was just a matter of timing to give the present to her, without missing her birthday. His mind quickly changed gears as his subconscious picked up something off. The sound of the airship's engines droned on in the background. But there was another sound as well. Phineas couldn't quite put his finger on it. "Sir? Sir, are you listening to me?" The old man barged into his thoughts. "I was just saying that bravery is the key. Right, that is. You must be brave if you are to face the horrors of the world. Why, that brings up another story. One that—" "Quiet, you idiot!" Frakture snapped. The foreign sound was getting louder. "Phineas, that wasn't nice," scolded Abigail. Phineas, however, held up a finger and stood up. "Do you hear that?" "What?" everyone seemed to ask at once. "F-whoop, f-whoop" sound grew louder and louder with each passing moment. Yes, I hear it. What is it?" asked William. Heads turned, each of them straining to pinpoint the source. "The date." "What is the date?" queried Phineas. "You mean you don't know?" asked William. "How could you not know what day it is?" "I don't waste my time with trivial things like that. That's why I have you around, to keep track of rubbish. Quickly, the day and month." 16th of May, of course." "And we are over the Atlantic, 2 days out. We are past halfway in May." "Correct." "Oh, this is bad," said Phineas, though he was secretly pleased to have verified Abigail's birthday was indeed tomorrow. "Steward! Steward!" he shouted. "What is wrong? Phineas, you are starting to worry me, and everyone else," said Abigail. A young man in uniform approached the group. "Yes, sir?" "Steward, tell the captain that we need to raise the elevation, immediately." "Why on earth for?" "Just do it, or we are all dead." "I can't tell him without a good reason, sir." Phineas grabbed the steward by the shoulders and shook him. "Air-kraken, man! We are about to be crushed by an air-kraken!" The steward's face went white, and a wave of panic began to move throughout the room. "How do you know this for sure, Phineas?" asked Abigail. "Listen, the mating season is in March. The largest of the air-kraken will rise a second time in order to find females still in heat. and the air kraken is not the brightest creature on the planet. It rises, it sees a big object flying by. You mean? Asked William, his eyes widening. Yes. With us? Yes. And we are about to be violated in the most primitive air kraken sense. I think that I'm going to be sick, William said. You are about to be more than that if we don't get out of here. The steward, who had moved out to the window, called out to them, I don't see any... At that moment, unfortunately for him, a giant tentacle crashed through the window and pulled him out. His screams faded soon after. Does anyone else wish to question my analysis of our situation? Phineas shouted. The only response he received was a lot of screaming and running. What do we do now? Abigail asked as bells began ringing throughout the airship. The deck then heaved as the crew performed evasive maneuvers. In my professional opinion, we have only one option. Panic. Sheer panic. Phineas leaned down and looked under the table. Do you concur, O brave hunter, cowering under the tablecloth? The big game hunter nodded his assent. No ivory to be gotten here, but if you happen to have that rifle, you may want to put it to good use now. I'm just fine where I am, replied the hunter. Very well. I suggest we head for the lifeboats before we get too familiar with this beast. What about our luggage? Asked Abigail. Are your dresses more important than our lives? Asked Phineas. Dresses? How long have you known me? I have tools and guns in there. She stormed off in the direction of the cabin. You two get the lifeboat ready. I will get our things. Astounding woman, stated William. That she is. Come along, Patterson. We have work to do, Phineas commanded.
You're listening to Big World Network.